In the past I've alluded to the fact that last year I spent one ultimately failed year at the University of Westminster studying radio production. While I was at the University of Westminster studying radio production, I lived in halls. Those halls were divided into flats, each containing 6 people. And in my flat, I met 5 of the most wonderful people who I've ever had the pleasure to meet in my life. The flat in question was flat 69. Yeah, of 75 or however many flats it was in the halls of residence, I end up with the only one that is a sexual innuendo. There were initially 3 boys and 3 girls in the flat, so, you know, dorkies in the fruit bowl and all that sort of thing. No, I'm joking, of course. There was no swinging happening in the flat, at least none that involved me. We just had a nice time. And now that I've made that swinging joke, saying that we had a nice time sounds dirty, but it's not. We just had a nice time and were friends with each other. I'll talk you through flat 69 geographically, shall I? If you were to walk into the front door of flat 69 and turn immediately to your right, you would be faced with room A. Room A housed the first person who I ever spoke to at university, Vicky. Very nice, very friendly, very funny, and very much a lightweight, if memory serves. All of us in the flat were from very different places to each other, and Vicky was from Somerset. If you should ever have the pleasure to meet her, I very much encourage you to make her say the following sentence: "Don't be a bully or I'll push you down the mountain." That is an in-joke that so few people will get. Take a couple of steps further down the main corridor of flat 69 and again turn to your right and you will see room B, which I slept in. Initially tried to have an open door policy for my flat. The theory being, when we first went to university, that I wanted everyone to feel like they could walk into my flat at any time. For sort of the first couple of months, I would say, whenever someone knocked on my door and I answered it, I would just say, you know that you can just walk in, that's fine. However, during Freshers Week, myself, Vicky, another flatmate of ours called George, who I'll get later, there was an edit there, and that's because I burped. Sorry about that. Something about George just inspires gas. I have no idea what that means, but it really made me laugh. And then and another friend of mine as well. All went out and got quite drunk, and then came back and got more drunk. I can't remember much about the night, but I know for a fact that at some point in the night, my penis was seen by Vicky, and so after that I started locking my door. Moving on, take a couple more steps down the corridor of flat 69 and turn again to your right and you will be faced with room C. Now in room C lived a girl who was known, I think, by more than just me. I really hope it was more than just me. In fact, I'm pretty sure it was more than just me, as room C. The reason for that is because sort of never quite caught her name for quite a long time, like about 2 or 3 months. And it got to the stage where Room C started to sound like a name. Room C, or Victoria, as we later found out she liked to be called, was from, China. Hong Kong, China. She was probably the quietest, most withdrawn member of the flat, apart from myself. But she was fantastic. Take another couple of steps further down the corridor of flat 69. Again, look to your right, you'll be faced with room D. Room D had 2 different occupants through the year. The first occupant was a French guy called Valentine, who was over on a 18-month exchange doing business, because there was a business school at the university, as well as all the media-y stuff. I didn't get to know Valentine as well as I'd have liked. I'm quite shy, naturally, and I don't know, I just never really got the opportunity to sit and talk to him very much. Well, that's a lie. I did get the opportunity, I just didn't. I remember he always used to be really surprised by how early us English people ate our dinner. Like George and Vicky would be making their dinner at sort of 5:30, 6 o'clock. I'd normally eat about 6:30, maybe 7 or 8 at latest. Valentine and his friends would start cooking at about 9:30 and eat at about 10 o'clock. And then Tasha moved in, and I never really got to know her very much either, mainly because around the time she moved in I started coming home more, sort of every couple of weeks or every month or so I'd be going home. So yeah, I don't know anything about her, but she lived there. Keep looking at room D and now turn around 180 degrees and you'll be faced with room E, in which lived Christine. Christine was a few years older than the rest of us, and she was from Norway, and she was mental. I remember one evening we went to Camden quite early in uni. Myself, Vicky, Christine and George all went over there, and some guys were chatting Christine up, and in order to get rid of them, she made me pretend to be her boyfriend for a bit like Nick and Nora's Infinite Playlist, but without any of the other events that happen in Nick and Nora's Infinite Playlist. She was drunk a lot, and she ate a lot of fish. I love it when you have to sum up someone in just a couple of sentences, and with Christine, drinking and fish were the two things that came to mind. That and the fact that she had a boiled egg slicer, which confused me. It was sort of like a cheese grater, except she used it to cut really thin strips of boiled egg, which she ate on Ryvitas. And now this is brilliant, right? It was really cold in England in the winter, and I guess Christine told her mum that we were all feeling cold, like all of us English people were feeling cold. And so her mum sent us all woolly socks. How awesome is that? You now need to turn 180 degrees. Well, actually no, 90 degrees to your left, so that you're facing back out of flat 69, and take about 5 steps. Once you've done that, turn to your right and you are outside of room F. George is an incredibly cool guy. First real thing that I can say about him is that he introduced me to quite a strong alcoholic beverage that I believe is known as Jack Daniels. I have forgotten some fantastic nights as a result of our good friend Mr. Daniels. And I've got George to thank for it. He's from Swindon. I'm only saying that because I've said where everyone else is from. George had the work social life balance perfect. Whenever I'd see him around uni, he would be literally sprinting flat out to get from one meeting to another. Sounds like I'm painting him as being boring, but he's not, and this is a real compliment. And this is my overriding memory of him. The fact that he would sort of get up early in the morning and work solidly until, 5 o'clock. Then he'd eat, and then it would just be party time. Well, no, not party time. And then it would just be fun time, and drinking and having a good time and having a laugh, and then going to bed and waking up the next morning and resuming the cycle. I remember once Arsenal were playing Barcelona in the Champions League quarter final, second leg. No, last 16, second leg. And I asked him if he wanted to come to the pub to watch it, and he said the following sentence, and I'm quoting him word for word as I remember it. "Oh no, I can't really come out to the pub because I've got an essay. Oh hang on, no, I want a beer actually. I'll come and I'll just do my essay when I get back." And that's what he did. I wouldn't have done it in his position, but he did. The thing when you bring 6 people from such different backgrounds together, like we all were in the halls at university, is that inevitably they'll all go their separate ways afterward. Halfway through the year, Valentine moved out of the flat, and he went and rented a flat in London, and 6 months into the current academic year, he went back to Paris. Christine was initially only supposed to be in Westminster for the first semester, but she managed to get her university to extend her studies abroad into the second semester as well, which meant that she got to stay for the entire year. But then at the end of the year, she went back to Norway. Victoria went back to Hong Kong at the end of the year to continue her studies there. I dropped out, and the thing that made me saddest about dropping out wasn't the fact that I was leaving my course, because I didn't particularly enjoy the course, but it was the fact that I knew that I was going to be moving away from these fantastic friends that I'd made. Tasha, who moved into the flat after Christmas, stayed in university. As far as I'm aware, is still doing well, but I don't really get to see any of them anymore. I've been up in London a couple of times in this academic year, and I've got to see George and Vicky a bit during that time, but not as much as I'd have liked. But every cloud has a silver lining, and though 5 of the 7 of us may have all gone our own ways, 2 of us stayed very much together. George and Vicky were best friends throughout the entire year. They were inseparable. If you saw one, you knew that the other one was going to be along in a couple of minutes. They moved in together in the second year of university with some other friends, because you have to move out of halls after the first year. And a couple of days ago on Facebook, I saw that they're now in a relationship, which is fantastic. I'm so happy. I have to say that it was inevitable, and that from about November 2010, I was utterly convinced that they were going to end up in a relationship. I sort of viewed them as the bedrock of the flat while we were there. They were the two that kept everyone together and made sure that everyone hung out together. And they're the two that stuck together the closest after the end of the first year. And hopefully they're the two that will just carry on sticking together. Not like that. Yeah, this has been a little bit of a downbeat one today. It's going to be a bastard to edit because I've been talking for 25 minutes nearly. But it's been a while since I've thought really carefully about my year at University of Westminster, my flatmates. And they asked me to make this video. And I'm really pleased that they did, because it's allowed me to sit and ponder and think about the times that we had together. And I really hope that I'll see them all again, sooner rather than later. Vicky and George, as I said, are up in London, and so it's relatively easy for me to go and see them. Christine is in Norway, and I've no doubt that I'll go over and see her at some point, or she'll be in England, and you know, we'll meet up at some point. Valentine, not so sure. I'd love to meet up with him again. Not sure if I will or not, but he's a great guy and I wish him all the best. Similarly, I wish Tasha the best, and Victoria back in Hong Kong. Again, I wish her nothing but the ultimate success. And if I'm ever in Hong Kong or China or whichever one it is, I can't remember, I'll definitely look her up. I was going to do some admin at the end of this video, but this is going to be long enough as it is without me adding more. Yeah, that'll do.